What is up, Star Wars fans? In this one, I have a very, very great piece of news for you. Clone Wars 2003, the little micro mini-series by Gennady Tartakovsky, hopefully I've said that right, Tartakovsky, I think, is officially coming to Disney Plus in April. And, you know, this is a show that will always hold a special place in my heart. Now, before the Clone Wars as we know it, you know, the 7 seasons of greatness, from, you know, the Siege of Mandalore to the Battle of Umbara to the Domino Squad. This was the Clone Wars. This was the gaps. This was the fill in the blanks between episodes 2 Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith for episode 3. This was the way of bridging the saga together and really sort of fleshing out what was the Clone Wars. What was this grand thing that Kenobi always, you know, he mentioned in A New Hope, and then now we finally get to see it. So before Dave Filoni and that Clone Wars show came about, this was the Clone Wars. This was the look into how Anakin matured with the war, how Obi-Wan became, you know, more of a leader and more of a noble Jedi. And it was just such a fun watch. And the way it's structured now, you have 2 DVDs. You have Volume 1 and you have Volume 2. And you can just watch the whole of it. But back when it was on like Cartoon Network and Toonami, like they would have it in chapters. And every chapter would be like 2 minutes. And I remember tuning in every single day just for 2 minutes to see each new scene, you know, to see each new bit of story detail. And you get so much context. You get, you know, scenes that could have happened, great what if scenarios. You get Mace Windu going absolutely ham on battle droids and just tearing stuff up. Then you get Grievous being an absolute monster. Now I know in Dave Filoni's Clone Wars he has his monstrous moments, not like this. The scene at the end of Volume 1 was absolutely daunting, and it was almost sort of horror-like. How there's about 6 Jedi, and he just wipes the floor with every single one of them. Now, I think on YouTube there are clips, the full volumes are up there for you to go and watch. I highly recommend it. It's no longer canon, but the one thing that I will say regarding Star Wars and canon is that, you know, there's not your canon and my canon, there's one canon. But ultimately, it doesn't mean we can't enjoy these things. It doesn't mean that we can't sit back and enjoy the greatness of this cartoon. And for its time, this was a great piece of art. And I remember every Star Wars fan around that time being so in awe of this. It was done in a Samurai Jack, if you're a fan of that cartoon or you grew up with that cartoon. It's done in that kind of art style. And it really translates well over to Star Wars. And it was done in such a way where it was cool. It was great. And you could tell these sort of battles and scenes that you couldn't do in the movies, or you didn't have time to. And then we got introduced to characters like Ventress. We got introduced to characters like Dirge. So for all intents and purposes, Volume 1 is Ventress's introduction into Star Wars, and Volume 2 is Grievous's introduction into Star Wars before Revenge of the Sith. Now, the character of Dirge, I don't believe is canon anymore, but he is an absolute monster in this, and one of them great characters that is such a shame that they never recanonized. But ultimately, the duel he has with Obi-Wan is great, and this isn't, you know, this isn't the whole package. Star Wars fans, you're going to get a heaping helping, as this article says here, of non-canonical information and animation from a galaxy far, far away, as the original Clone Wars animated series and the 1980s Ewok cartoon, something I haven't actually watched yet, and the animated segment from the notorious Star Wars Holiday Special, if you, yeah, I'm sure we know what that part is, are making their way to the Disney Plus streaming service at the beginning of April. This is in addition to the 2 live-action Ewoks made-for-TV movies which will be arriving. So you get the Ewoks cartoon, you get the Ewoks movies, and you get the Holiday Special cartoon, and you get Clone Wars, the original series. Now, admittedly, I'm not really going to watch the Ewok cartoon. I'm probably not going to watch the Ewoks movies, but I might watch that Holiday Special clip. I presume it's the one with Boba Fett and sort of his introduction into the lore and into the Star Wars universe. I'm definitely going to be rewatching this show. I grew up with it a lot as a kid, and it was just so awesome to see the characters of Anakin, Obi, Mace, Yoda just fleshed out and nourished across 2 volumes of greatness, and they're about an hour and a half each. And if you haven't seen it, I really recommend it. I know it will probably feel weird watching it knowing that it's not, you know, canon for all intents and purposes. But as I've said, Star Wars is meant to be enjoyed. You know, we don't need to... Just because it's no longer canon doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. I still enjoy The Force Unleashed. I've played that on a regular. And for me, it is one of the best Star Wars games ever made. Probably, like, ever will be made. That and Force Unleashed 2, in a way, like, they're fun. They're fun to play, Evs. You know, I'm sure most of you have played those games. But ultimately, I really enjoyed what this series had to offer, and I think you can get a lot out of it. And it's quite interesting, because not a lot of dialogue is actually in the show, if you know what I mean. There's not a lot of dialogue exchanged. A lot of it is just fighting scenes, or cool scenes, or moments, character building. But if you really want that character-rich... organic story arc, then you watch the Filoni Clone Wars. If you want just something where it's just a bit of fun, you get to see Ventress and Anakin duke it out, you get to see a young Anakin and Qui-Gon, you know, you get to see Dirge go absolutely berserk. It's great, it's fun, it's awesome, and you get to see the clones just sort of like walking around like pretty much the Rainbow Six. You know, there's just that they're using hand gestures to signal their movements. They're not talking. You know, they move their hand this way, it means 2 of you go that way. They move their hand down, you go that way. And it has the most badass clone I have ever seen put to screen, and that is Captain Fordo. This dude runs out of ammo, right? He then proceeds to start smacking one, shoots it with a pistol, and then picks up a gun and starts going to absolute town on every single droid in his vicinity. It's amazing. You get Windu and Yoda teaming up together. You get Shakti on the run from Grievous. You get the whole context of the Chancellor's kidnapping. Now, with Dave Filoni's Season 7, I thought they were going to tie into this, but they haven't. And I wonder if that was a purposely done creative choice, because in some way, there are parts of this series that are canon. Chancellor being kidnapped is canon. And in Season 7 of the Clone Wars, they said Shakti went to head him off or something. And in this series, that's exactly what happens. So to me, I feel like this show perfectly fits within the canon. I know when Anakin duels Ventress and she goes down, you don't see her after that, but it doesn't mean she's dead. It just means she fell from a great height and probably hurt, it's seriously injured. And then came back for revenge, and it shows, in a way how Anakin could have got his scar. And there's a great scene in the cave where, Anakin's following the mother's cries or mother's tears, I've forgotten which. And he goes into the cave and he has like a premonition of his future. And it just shows this sort of like animated figure get a metal arm, a bit like he does, and just start taking over, killing the friends, killing the locals, and then, it cuts to Vader, and then boom. Perfect. Perfect. Brilliant. Now, I do feel like Filoni's Clone Wars is a bit more rich in story, but this is great fun, it's great action, it's a great what if Star Wars was more anime-ish. And, I mean, come on, Mace Windu losing his lightsaber and then just proceeding to punch the living daylights out of a bunch of battle droids. Sign me up. So, with that being said, guys and girls, leave your comments down below. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. Have we got any more fellow Star Wars fans on this channel? I hope so. I'm closing in on 5k subs. Expect more Cobra Kai videos. Expect more Marvel videos. Expect more Star Wars videos. I've got so much coming for you guys over the next few weeks. You don't want to miss it. And yeah, onwards and upwards. And yes, they're not part of the current Star Wars canon, but it's going to be great to see them again, especially the 03 Clone Wars. I cannot wait to dip into that again, to take the plunge and just rewatch that. I might have to do a watch party for that because, man, it's my childhood right there. That's my childhood. I remember just sort of, rushing home each day, changing the channel just to get the 2 minutes a day of like chapter 12, Windu's doing this, or chapter 15, Luminara's doing this. All this cool stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, leave your comments down below. The Force will always be with you, and I will see you all in another video soon. Chosen Vader Karate is dismissed.